not seen a lot of Julio Bourbon of late, but he will get a start in center field today on a very warm afternoon here in Arlington. Challenging for these players and even for the fans, of course, today as the Red Sox are in closing out the homestand. The Rangers have stood toe-to-toe with some of the big boys on this homestand. They are even up against the Yankees and the Red Sox. And along with Tom Grieve, I'm Josh Lewin. Welcome to Texas Ranger Baseball. C.J. Wilson has proven that he can stand in there really against anybody and trying to beat the Heat and beat the Red Sox this afternoon.
Yeah, and you'd love to win this last game of the homestand, to have a winning homestand. The Rangers beat the Red Sox 3 out of 4 in Boston. Right after the break, you'd love to win 2 out of 3 right here. And to do it, C.J. Wilson is going to have to do today what he's done a couple of times earlier in the season against the Red Sox. He's pitched twice, he's won twice, and they've had a hard time scoring against him. And hopefully C.J. will be up to the challenge and bring the Rangers home a win today.
Hopefully there's a bit of run support for him. The Rangers never did get going until a Josh Hamilton home run yesterday that avoided what would have been a shutout at the hands of John Lester. On the subject of Josh Hamilton, the numbers are gaudy, especially here at home. The season has been MVP worthy. Hamilton and the Rangers against the Boston Red Sox when we come back on Fox Sports Southwest. I just said I'd buy you hot chocolate. I didn't say I'd buy you that. What'd they charge you? What'd they charge you? Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one, for it is the best in Texas. By Progressive, for a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by Jack in the Box. Get Jack's really big chicken sandwich combo for only $3.99 plus tax. As the Rangers and the Red Sox get set to play, it's a Sunday tradition. The youngsters are invited out onto the field, one per position. They get to meet their heroes, get an autographed baseball, and that, I think, puts the players in a good humor as well, Mr. Grieve, to get the afternoon started.
Well, all the guys were kids at one time and probably would have given anything at the same age to have the same opportunity to go out on a big league field, meet a ball player, get his autograph. I know I would have.
At the beginning of the game today, we do need to mention that, yes, it is hot enough for us. Those of you in your neighborhood that are asking you that question, you can roll your eyes right along with us. Yeah, it's plenty hot. Yesterday, the game time temperature was 102. And we'll see what they go with this afternoon. Out there on the left field thermometer, it has actually dipped to 99. I don't buy it, Tag, to be honest. It feels a little north of 99. And I'm sure on that field, the players will be feeling every bit of it today.
Yeah, fortunately, it's not an AstroTurf artificial surface. That would get really hot. With natural grass, it doesn't get quite as hot out on the field as it would in a place like Kansas City or old Cincinnati's ballpark. But it's plenty warm, no doubt about that.
And the Red Sox today, with Pedroia hurt, Euclid hurt, Ortiz and Drew get the day off. It's kind of a shell of the Boston Red Sox, but they can still beat you. Scudero, McDonald, Martinez, Adrian Beltre has been great for them. Mike Lowell and our old friend Jared Saltalamacchia, the switch hitting catcher today. Bill Hall, Ryan Kalish, and Eric Patterson. That's the 1 through 9 for Boston. Here's the scouting report on CJ.
Well, CJ's had an outstanding year. His ERA is .330. That's the 15th best ERA in the league. His opponent's batting average, second in the American League. The second toughest pitcher to hit this year has been C.J. Wilson. Against Boston in his career, he's pitched very well, and as we mentioned right before the ball game, he's had 2 starts this year, and in those 2 starts, his ERA is under 1.
On the ground to third for Michael Young. Backhand pickup. Right over to Jorge Cantu. I'll show you the rest of the Ranger defense. Vlad Guerrero is out today. Josh Hamilton is DHing today. It's Murphy, Bourbon, and Moreland out there. Young, Andrews, Blanco, and Cantu. And 2 starts in a row for Taylor Teagarden. Mitch Moreland had 11 outfield assists in AAA. He actually is a really good right fielder, but he, of course, has been just a first baseman so far as a Ranger. Get a chance to see him in right on what we're told, Tag, is a 99-degree game time temperature today. That is officially what we're going with. Darnell McDonald punching one in the center. And you can hear there are some Red Sox fans here today. It's 69 in Boston right now, if that matters to anybody. But second day game this year where the temperature off the top has been 99. Tommy Hunter had that complete game against Tampa Bay a couple months ago.
Well, Darnell McDonald has certainly played well against the Rangers this year. He's been a nice addition to the Red Sox team, and I think the Rangers have seen his best play this year. Almost every time that he comes into a game against the Rangers, he makes something happen.
Switch hitting Victor Martinez, who's playing first base for Boston today. Had an 11-game hit streak stop last night. It was another sellout for the Rangers and the Red Sox yesterday. And a game that featured only 4 runs total, 3 of those in the 9th inning. John Lester out-dueling Colby Lewis. Lester just the latest to out-duel Colby Lewis. Seems like every start over the last month, Colby pitches great and somebody else pitches just a bit better.
Well, Colby's had 3 of his last 4 or 5 starts have been at least 6 innings and only 1 run. He hasn't won any of them. 2 of those came against Trevor Cahill. And 1 last night. He pitched about as well as he can pitch. 1 run in 7 innings. And a bunch of strikeouts. Had good stuff the whole game. Just matched up against a really good pitcher in John Lester.
That one dive bombing in on Victor Martinez. And though he stood around to talk about something, he knows he's got to go. That's out number 2.
I'm trying to say he fouled it off. Nice try, Victor.
Martinez now 1 out of 10 in this series. No, he didn't touch that.
He didn't come within 6 inches of that ball.
If you can sell that, you can also sell home plate umpire Ted Barrett a space heater today. It's a good umpire back there. Good man, Ted Barrett. Tony Randazzo at first. Brian Gorman, the crew chief, at second. Paul Nauert is your umpire at third.
And CJ's doing just exactly what you would hope your pitcher does today while they're out in the field, and that's throw a lot of strikes. First 8 pitches were strikes. One of them thanks to that swing by Martinez.
It's got to help that you've got a pitcher in such great condition as C.J. Wilson today. This is not a guy who should succumb to what the rest of us would on an afternoon such as this. A great physical specimen is C.J. Wilson. There's a drive by Beltre. And it just keeps on bending foul.
Yeah, obviously, I think the better condition you're in, the better you're suited to do almost anything. But I think more than that, what Nolan said is what it is. It's an attitude. And it's digging down deep and forgetting the elements and going out and getting the job done no matter what the elements are. It's like a golfer playing in the wind and the rain. One of the hottest days ever, we talked about this the other night, was a game that Gaylord Perry started. Gaylord was never in what you would say tip-top shape, but he went 9 on one of the hottest days ever at this ballpark. And with Gaylord, that's what it was. It was about an attitude.
Actually, the old ballpark, right?
The old ballpark?
Yeah. 1980
yeah,
was that game.
Whether you're playing in this ballpark or the old one, 100 degrees is 100 degrees. And so while it definitely helps to be in the best shape you can be in, there's plenty of people in great shape who might not perform in this weather. It's digging down deep and going out and getting the job done and not worrying about what the weather is. The weather's the same for all 50 guys that are out there today.
That was indeed a wild pitch, getting McDonald to second. And the count 2-2 to Beltre. Rolling slowly towards third, Michael Young galloping over, making the play to get Beltre and end the inning. Didn't take long for C.J. Wilson to get the guys back in the dugout where there is a fan. Andrews, Young, and Murphy coming up. .99 degrees. It's the Red Sox and the Rangers. The rubber game of a 3-game series, a 3-1 win for Boston yesterday. And now the Ranger lineup is Andrews, Young, and Murphy, the upper third. Josh Hamilton now leading at the major leagues in batting average by a cool 27 points. That's the cleanup man. Jorge Cantu, Mitch Moreland, Taylor Teagarden, Andres Blanco, and Julio Borbon against another well-conditioned athlete. A guy that C.J. Wilson has actually studied in some regard, right down to the legendary gyro ball. Here's Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Yeah, he's been pitching well. 17 starts, he's 8-3. 3 or fewer earned runs in 10 of his last 13 starts. He's 3-1 against the Rangers. Had a bad game in there. That's one of the reasons his ERA is 5.09. One thing that he has a tendency to be is a little bit wild. You need to make him throw strikes. He tends to throw a lot of pitches. his last 13 starts, his opponent's batting average is only .215. He's always been a tough guy to hit. Very good assortment of pitches. Throws a little bit of everything, really.
Last year, because he was hurt, he made only a dozen starts all year. He won only 4 of them. And had an ERA that was not commensurate with his astronomical salary. His opponent's batting average last year was .325. So the fact that this year, like you say, Tag, he's able to come out and show off some of the numbers that you mentioned, the Red Sox are liking that a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the best he pitches is in the World Baseball Classic when he's pitching for Japan. Pretty tough for everybody in that series.
Andrus knocks it into the crowd. It was a couple of years ago that actually the opposing batting average for Matsuzaka was the best in the entire league. But also that year he led the league in walks. And he's one of those pitchers that sometimes it's just tough to watch because it takes him a while to get through an inning. He usually does get through it with a 0 or a 1 on the scoreboard. Doesn't give up a lot of big innings, but one of those guys who might walk the bases loaded with 1 out and then come back and get a couple of 9-pitch strikeouts to just find a way through. Inside corner. Elvis Andrus didn't think so. But that is the first out in the bottom of the first inning.
That looks like it might be a little bit inside. It was. But, you know, on a day like this, I think if the home plate umpire's strike zone is favorable toward the pitcher, that's probably not a bad thing. Now, if I'm Elvis Andrus leading off the game and strike out on that pitch, I'm not going to be too happy about it. But if that's the strike zone, that's the strike zone. We'll deal with it.
Michael Young, great career numbers against Matsuzaka, 7 of 11. And Michael could use a bit of a jolt today. That batting average down to .288. There is a jolt into center field. It goes to the track and near the wall. That is Ryan Kalish running it down.
That's a well-hit ball. I think if Michael got that up in the air a little bit, more of a fly ball, it might have carried out of here. As it did, it carries 400 feet right to the wall. Kalish, who played left field earlier in this series, gets a shot out in center field. That makes a nice play.
With Jacoby Ellsbury on the DL.
Walk,
yeah, no kid. With the Ellsbury on the DL now, there'll be a little bit of McDonald out there, a little bit of Patterson, and today it's a little Kalish. Murphy taking outside, and he's suddenly become a fixture in left for the Rangers. 10th consecutive start in left field today. And with Hamilton DHing, that's how Bourbon gets back into the lineup. It's Julio in center. And with Nelly Cruz having that tight hamstring, Mitch Moreland's got to play right today. We should mention, for those that didn't hear the news, the Rangers do have one extra outfielder now in their employ. Brandon Boggs brought up today, with Rich Harden going back to the DL. Shoulder tendonitis for Harden, so obviously he won't be making that start in Tampa Bay on Tuesday. That sets up as a TBA right now. Cliff Lee gets to start tomorrow. As for the Nelson Cruz situation, or Emily Jones will have more on that a little bit later on. Get you all the latest news. Murphy blasting towards center, down for a base hit to bring up Josh Hamilton.
A couple of hard hit balls on fastballs. Murphy's in front of Kalish's. Michael's just hit hard enough where it went all the way to the wall, but Kalish was able to get underneath it.
Murphy just keeps swinging it. 9 for his last 10 now. A streak like that is child's play for Josh Hamilton. You might have seen that fine print on that last graphic that we showed you. A .427 batting average since the 1st of June. And just to put that in perspective, next best in baseball since the 1st of June, Delman Young is hitting .340. So we're talking 87 points better than anybody else over a stretch of 10 weeks. And your Coors Light Cold of Art blast from yesterday, a Josh Hamilton homer that prevented a shutout.
Kalish likes to run into those walls. I think they're sneaking up on him.
Outside to Hamilton. Does the warning track not do what it's supposed to do for guys sometimes?
Well, you know, last night he was following that ball, and evidently it didn't do anything for him because he ran smack into the wall on a Michael's ball. He caught it, took a couple of steps, and when he turned around, there was the wall. So
Murphy's going. Salt to Lamacchia throw it. And so weird to see Salt to Lamacchia trying to get out a Texas Ranger. For those of us that really do root for Jared Salt to Lamacchia, there's a lot of people out there. It's good to see Jared throwing decently again. The problem he had earlier, getting the ball back to the pitcher, is no longer an issue.
9 out of 10 in stolen bases for David.
Hamilton takes a strike. Hamilton's got that same ratio, right? About a 9 out of 10. The guys, some of these guys anyway, really do know when to get going. Rangers were a shade reckless on the bases overall yesterday. Hamilton down on strikes. Matsuzaka pulling the string. Murphy's left on base. No score at the end of 1. In Arlington as we go to inning number 2, and we say hello to Jim Knox.
All right, thanks, Josh. Look, we have in Community Corner today. It's former Mayor of Arlington, Richard Green, on hand because big happenings before the game. He honored 6 new students for the Richard Green Scholars, correct?
Absolutely. Tomorrow's leaders right here behind us. We're very proud of these young people, preparing them for community service and then a life of leadership as they move on.
All right, so for those who want to help out, what do they need to do?
Well, what they need to do, especially if they would like to participate in the program, if they got kids in high school, then they need to get an application, talk to the counselor, and get in the queue. file for the application, go through the screening process, wind up in the finals, and maybe they'll become a scholar one day like these young people.
There we go. Good seeing you. Keep up the great work. All right, time to get going for the game. Hit me, big guy. Yeah, we're ready for this afternoon game. It feels good out here. Good to see you. Thanks.
Feel free to send that dude right over here, too, Jim. Thanks. There's Lowell fouling one against C.J. Wilson.
And that was Richard's wife, Sylvia, that you couldn't see behind Jim. She was ducking out of the way of that water rifle.
You're not supposed to super soak a mayor or a Mrs. Mayor, I don't think. Well, C.J. Wilson, a real nice start. His second strikeout already, and now Jared Saltalamacchia against the Rangers. And again, how odd. Wilson used to pitch in a very different vein to Jared Saltalamacchia. They used to consult each other on strategy, figure out how to get some other guy out. Now it's Wilson trying to get out Salty. Jared, of course, was on the DL very soon after being in that Rangers opening day lineup. And then down to AAA just to kind of work some things out, not just get healthy, but really work some things out. And about a .250 batting average in Okie City. And then right at the trade deadline, the Rangers peddling him to Boston. And it was a beginning journey for him in AAA in the Red Sox system. Up he came about a week ago, joining the team in Toronto.
Good job so far by CJ, keeping the ball down. Kind of pitching a little bit like John Lester did last night. A lot of pitches around the knees. A few breaking balls to keep the hitters honest. Could attempt to get a swing and a miss right there.
Way outside, and Salty is on. He had a 2-double debut up there for the Red Sox in Toronto. And that was pretty weird when you think about not just CJ pitching to Saltalamacchia, but right there in the home plate area, it had Saltalamacchia standing right in front of Taylor Teagarden. Those were your two catchers on the roster back on opening day for the Rangers, and they both ended up in the minors within, what, about 4 weeks. The Rangers going with Matt Trainer. Max Ramirez was his backup for a while. Now, of course, it's Benji Molina is the number one. Bill Hall playing second base again. Jed Lowry, I think if the temperature wasn't 100 degrees, Tom, Jed Lowry would be out there today. Terry Francona saying before the game that Lowry was lightheaded yesterday. He was held out as a precaution, lightheaded again today. Lowry missed 2.5 months this year with the effects of mono. And Francona telling the media it's just common sense. If the guy is trying to come back from mono and he's lightheaded and it's 100 degrees, I'm not playing him.
Yeah, he's got a good guy to play in his place. Billy Hall does a nice job out there, wherever you play him.
He's definitely been a thorn for the Rangers this year. Had some big hits against them. The Red Sox are 67-51 coming in. They are 6 back of the Yankees. They are 4 back of Tampa Bay. And they are heading home for a while after this one. The Sox have played their last 10 on the road. That's a strike, 2-2. Actually, Boston's in a stretch, Tom. They're just finishing it up where they've played 20 out of 27 away from Fenway. They got to feel like they've survived that.
Yeah, they're still hanging in there. They're only 6 games out, 4 games behind Tampa Bay. A lot of games left between the contenders in the East, just like there is in every division.
Kevin Youkilis is lost for the rest of the regular season, but they should be getting Dustin Pedroia back fairly soon. He's on a rehab assignment at AAA Pawtucket. I think for both teams today, Tom, it's not exactly their playoff representative lineup. The Rangers without Kinsler and Cruz and Vlad Guerrero. The Red Sox obviously without Pedroia and Euclid. They're sitting Ortiz and Drew today. Never a bad idea to sit your lefties against C.J. Wilson, though, right? C.J. allowing lefties a batting average of 103 for the season. It's the best in the majors.
Red Sox will have 2 left-hand hitters in their lineup. The next 2 hitters, Kalish, center fielder, is hitting 8th. Patterson, the left fielder, hitting 9th today. Kalish has swung the bat well in this series. Got a couple of hits last night. Nice throwing arm in the outfield. Looks like a pretty good ball player. I know the Red Sox are high on him coming up through their system.
Towering pop-up. Andrews backing up, makes a call. He's got it. Doesn't look like hot chocolate they're sipping on out there, although I got to give a shout out. We've already handed out some dollar bills for hot chocolate today. Our buddies Zadok and Avery were the first to come by, and they were gleefully chugging that stuff down.
Good for them.
Chuck Greenberg's initiative of dropping prices here at the ballpark, it included hot chocolate, went from $3 down to $1. And yes, your play-by-play broadcaster came equipped today. I don't have thousands on me or anything, but we'll take care of some people if they want to actually drink hot chocolate today. Two strikes
like a good opportunity for the fans, but I think once the reality sets in, they get out here. It's not that good an idea.
No,
really.
I mean, it definitely shows that you're willing to take a chance on something. That's pretty cool. Or it shows that you escaped from your asylum, which, you know, shows creativity. But yeah, I'm willing to hand you the dollar if you actually chug the hot chocolate. And I would have to think that, you know, just to come out even, because you still got to front the dollar first. I just give it back to you. So, you know, basically for $0, you have to drink hot chocolate today. But for those that want to do that, I'm here for you. I got to thank you, by the way, for the wonderful idea of getting a Keep It Cool reusable gel pack out of the freezer and sitting on it.
That's one thing you can do with it. I would put it on the inside of your wrists, back of your neck, kind of moving around a little bit.
I'm sitting on mine, Tom.
Well, that'll keep you cool. That'll help. That'll definitely help.
Give it up for the fans today. I mean, obviously they read the newspapers and they've been walking around outside. They're not surprised. It's a swelteringly hot afternoon, but they're here today to see if the Rangers can take 2 out of 3 from Boston. Could be a 30,000 crowd today. That one fades away from Kalish. Crowd last night was 48,000. And Tom, it's the first time ever that the Rangers have had 4 straight crowds of more than 46,000 people. It never happened. Runner goes, and a foul from Kalish.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that. The first year that the stadium opened, there were huge crowds that year. I'm surprised that that's the first time that's happened.
There's always a dip, you know, just even if it was down to 42,000 or something, but to have 4 crowds that strong, that close to capacity, all in a row.
Well, they definitely got their money's worth in those 4 games. Those were 4 great games.
Well, the one that was officially the first night of the new ownership group, I mean, that really was one of the best games, maybe one of the top 10 games ever in this ballpark, all things considered. It just happened to coincide with the first night on the job officially for Chuck Greenberg.
I think that's definitely one of the top 10 games, maybe one of the top 5 games, and maybe the top performance by a player in this ballpark was Josh Hamilton.
Now, you talk about doing it all. The only thing I guess he didn't get asked to do in that game was throw somebody out. Not that he couldn't have done it. It's just the situation didn't present itself. He made 2 highlight reel catches, got on base 5 times, did the Willie Mays Hayes thing, scoring from second on an infield hit to tie the game.
Stole second base with the game on the line.
If he had run out into the concourse and popped the popcorn, nobody would have been surprised. Long at bat ends. C.J. Wilson striking out Kalish. No score, bottom of the second inning coming up. Jones.
Well, Josh, as you know, Nelson left yesterday's game when he was rounding second on that triple. Had some tightness in that left hamstring. He sat out the rest of the game last night. He's back in the clubhouse today. He's going to get a precautionary MRI done tomorrow just to make sure everything's okay. You'll remember he's already served 2 stints on the DL, once with the right hamstring, once with the left hamstring. So they're just wanting to make double sure that everything's okay. He does say, though, that he feels much better today, and hopefully just a precautionary MRI tomorrow.
Thank you, Em. And Jorge Cantu jumping on the first pitch he sees. A base hit into center field. Mitch Moreland comes up next. And the Rangers so far, Tom, it's either getting the ball solidly into center field or striking out. Everybody's done one or the other.
And picking up a guy like Cantu is such a good move for the Rangers, because you've got a guy planning on playing against left-handed pitching, but in a pinch, you've got a guy who's a regular player and a middle-of-the-order run producer who can step in now when Nelly Cruz can't play and give you a guy in the middle of the lineup who's been there, who's knocked in 100 runs, got big hits, played in big games. That's a good addition to the ball club to have a guy like that for your depth coming down the stretch.
Yep, Cantu is the Marlins cleanup hitter and really their go-to RBI guy. 3 times in his career has had 40 doubles at least.
And you got the versatility with Mitch Moreland, who can play first or play the outfield. That's valuable.
Versatility is never a bad trait in this game, and we talked about it last inning with Bill Hall, a guy that can play about 5 different positions for you.
Yeah, when you're the Red Sox or the Rangers, occasionally only with 3 extra men. They have 4 now with Boggs here, but sometimes you only have 3. The Red Sox only have 3 now. If you've got a backup catcher, a middle infielder, and an outfielder, and that's all they can do, manager doesn't have a lot of options. But when you've got a guy like Hall, Hall can pretty much play anywhere on the field. That makes it a little bit easier to go with 3 extra men.
Well, the more things you can do, I think that's true in any walk of life. You're going to be valuable in your industry. Look at actors. You know, we all thought Robin Williams could only do comedy, and then, you know, people figured out he could do more than that. He got cast for everything. 1-2 pitch is inside. The Rangers at 66-49. A 7.5 game lead in the West. Every other division is so close, but not the West. The Angels did pick up a game last night, getting back to within 7.5, but it's 9 in the loss column. The Rangers trying to fatten that lead up today with a win. Runner goes. Moreland fouls it off. Now the AL East, it's a 2-game separation. The AL Central, it's a 2-game separation. Minnesota and Chicago. NL East, 2-game separation. Atlanta over Philly. NL Central, it's tied at the top with St. Louis and Cincinnati. Again, the runner goes. Again, Moreland with a foul.
Moreland wears that guard down around his ankle and foot. And generally, when you see a guy with a guard down there, you'll see a guy that's very apt to foul a ball, a sinker or a breaking ball down and in right off his foot.
Ninth pitch of the at-bat coming up. Professional at-bat from a young hitter. Again, the runner goes. Again, a foul ball. You got tuckered out running these wind sprints here today. Jorge Cantu back and forth. Folks, if you're traveling this season, you're always welcome to take the Rangers with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv. See every Rangers game live or on demand on your computer. TexasRangers.com has more details. Cantu goes. Moreland strokes another one foul.
Well, he's getting a little bit of everything. Fastballs, changeups, curveballs, sliders, you name it. Matt Suzaka is throwing it to him, and he's spoiling every one of them. I think if I'm Ron Washington, I'm going to tell Cantu, okay, you can stay there on this one. Get a breath. 11th pitch coming up.
We talked about it earlier with Matsuzaka. You sometimes really can bloat up that pitch count. Get him out of there after 5 innings because of at-bats like this.
Hey, usually it's because he's not throwing strikes.
Doesn't throw a strike here. Cantu stops at second base. It's simply a walk. A well-earned walk by Mitch Moreland. He fought all the way back in the count. Kept peeling away the fouls, and now he's on. You got 2 on for Taylor Teagard.
We got Blanco coming up next, and Bourbon, 2 guys that make pretty good contact. You would think there's the potential for a sacrifice bunt right here, bunt situation. Martinez has already started to come in at first, and I'm sure Beltre will do the same thing at third. They're anticipating a bunt right here.
Tough night for Taylor last night against John Lester, failing to make contact. Just trying to make contact with a bunt here, and he does. A beauty. The sacrifice for Teagard. After an 11-pitch at bat with Moreland, it's just a 1-pitch bunch for Taylor.
That's exactly where you want to bunt it. You've got Martinez racing in from first base. If you bunt it to him, he has a chance to go to third base for the force out. But Beltre can't do the same thing. If Beltre charges in like that, all the guy at second base has to do is run to third base because there's no one covering. So he has to hold his ground a little bit. You bunt it to third base, you pretty much have an automatic sacrifice. Unless you bunt it back to the pitcher.
Well, now Blanco, who's got only 3 runs batted in all year. If he can bloop one to the outfield, he's going to pick up 2 more.
Blanco had some good at-bats in last night's game. He had a base hit. Hit a hard ball at third base, had a line drive to center field. All 3 times up, he hit the ball pretty well. And that was against John Lester, who was throwing the ball really well yesterday.
Cornermen are in on the grass. We'll be seeing a lot of Blanco with Guzman now on the DL, and of course Kinsler still on the DL. At some point, Joaquin Arias might become available again off the DL, but in essence, the Rangers currently, Tom, have 3 second basemen on the disabled list.
I think Blanco has the ability to step in and do the job. He's a good defensive player.
Gives that one a ride. Plenty deep to get Cantu home. Moreland's going to tag and go to third. The Rangers on top 1-0.
How about that throw by Kalish? Kalish was almost at the warning track in left center field and threw a 1-hop strike to third base.
Everybody,
one of the better throws you'll see all year right there.
And it really is true. Everybody Boston's been bringing up this year, whether it's McDonald or Nava or Kalish, they get in there and they do everything that.
Watch this throw. He's not quite on the warning track. And there's the throw, 1-hop to third base. That's a big-time throw. I like that. I mean, no one was out. He didn't have a chance to throw the guy out. But that's fun to watch.
Cornermen are in, even though there are 2 down. That's because it's Julio Bourbon at the plate, and he's known to drop down a bunt. You might have seen Kalish with that little piece of paper that he glanced at, and occasionally, especially for newer players in any league, whether they're a rookie or they're just not familiar with what they're supposed to be doing, they'll take a cheat sheet out there with them.
That was a really well-hit ball by Blanco, too. He just directs that a little bit more toward left center field. He's got a 2-run double. Kalish went back and made a nice play on him, but very well-hit ball and another good at-bat for Andres.
Way outside. A single, a walk, and 2 sacrifices for the Rangers to get their run.
The Rangers have Pedro Strop out in the bullpen, an extra pitcher. The Red Sox have called up Michael Bowden, so they've got an extra pitcher out there too. Both teams with 8-man bullpen for today's game.
Well, that's a nice sign right there for Bourbon. Earlier this season, he wasn't walking at all. And now that he's not really getting that much of a chance to play, you would think maybe he's going to get out there and try to overdo it. But no, that was a very patient at bat. Never helping out Matsuzaka. It's going to be first and third for Andrews.
Matsuzaka was all over the place on that at bat. He didn't really give him anything tempting enough to swing at. And now he's got his pitch count approaching 40. And a good spot for Elvis, who this year has done well in this situation. Men in scoring position and 2 outs. Trying to bring in the second Ranger run. Make it a little bit better than a 1-run inning.
Elvis has excelled in this situation all year. Runner in scoring position and 2 outs. Still a week and a half away from Elvis turning 22. Having this all-star season at 21 is phenomenal.
Rangers have hit the ball well against Matsuzaka today. 2 of the outs have been line drives hit to deep center field that Kalish has played. Young hit 1. Blanco hit 1. A couple of other hits in there. Line drive to center field by Murphy. Hard ground ball up the middle by Cantu. Blanco running on that ball. And a big hole, Bourbon, big hole between first and second, and that's the way Elvis was going.
You mentioned Stroke being here, Tom, and with Frankie Francisco fighting a stiff back. That's a good guy to have in the bullpen. He's kind of next man up. Neftali Feliz has not had a save conversion in this month of August. He's only had 1 opportunity. The Rangers obviously will hope to keep a lead and build a bridge to get it to Neffy today. We could see some Pedro Strop. Runners at the corners, 2 down, and Bourbon's going. Elvis Andrews lines it right to short. Scudero was moving towards the bag anyway.
Wow, he's not running. That's a base hit up the middle. 3 line shots have been caught in 2 innings.
F-150. Ford is the best in Texas by Geico, where 15 minutes can save you 15% on car insurance, and by AT&T. See what's new from AT&T. Go to att.com for details. Keeping cool on a Dreyer's Ice Cream Sundae. Best way for the Ranger players to beat the Heat right now is to get right back in that dugout. C.J. Wilson, and see how quickly he can get this done here, top of the 3rd. 9-1-2 in the Boston batting order, starting with the lefty Eric Patterson. We mentioned it earlier, it just hadn't even been a fair fight this year with C.J. Wilson against lefties. Lefties are now 11 for 108 against C.J. Wilson, and that batting average, opponent's batting average of 102. If it stands, it would be the best in the majors in about 40 years. J.D. Drew not in the lineup. David Ortiz not in the lineup tonight, or this afternoon. See ya. Eric Patterson becomes another lefty victim. The 2 lefties at Francona, his run out there today, Tag, have both taken called 3rd strikes, Kalish and Patterson.
No doubt about that pitch. You don't blame the hitter for looking at the umpire, because it's a perfect pitch and almost an impossible pitch to hit. But according to our pitch tracker, it was well in the strike zone. It's an excellent pitch by CJ. 4th strikeout.
Marco Scudero has had a tough couple of weeks.
Well, he's had a lot of balls to Michael at 3rd base. That's 2 today, a couple the other day as well.
6 for his last 50. 5-0.
Well, one thing that might be going on with Scudero is based on how many balls he's hit to Michael, and where the pitch is has something to do with it. But Scudero's a guy, when he's going well, who uses the whole field, hits a lot of line drives to the gap in right center field. Maybe he's just a little over anxious, trying to pull the ball a little bit too much. But he's a good hitter, good top of the order guy.
And the Red Sox have a good hitting coach in Dave Magadan, who seems to have worked well with Scudero and Adrian Beltre in particular. As many foul balls as the Mitch Moreland at bat had, Tom. That looked like a Dave Magadan at bat from maybe 15 years ago. He used to be the king of the 11 or 12 pitch AB. Dave Magadan also, for those who like, I don't know if it's trivia or just a fact, but that's the guy that was at the plate when Nolan Ryan's career came to an end on the Kingdome mound. He was the batter. Fouled beyond Mr. Ryan, all the way down that first base line. Steve Dreyer was the pitcher that came on and threw ball 4 in that at bat. Nolan blowing out his arm, throwing ball 3 to Dave Magadan in Seattle.
You know, the funny thing about Nolan blowing out his arm is about a couple of years later, he was throwing batting practice over at TCU, and he's probably throwing about 85 miles an hour.
Outside corner, down goes McDonald. C.J. Wilson has struck out 5, and the Rangers continue to lead 1-0.
Back at the ballpark in Arlington, Rangers head in the bottom of the third, leading the Red Sox 1-0. And Josh, got a little bad news here in center field. You're talking about the hot chocolate you're going to buy today for $1. Fans with hot chocolate already, raise your cups, please.
Oh, come on.
Now, fans wanting hot chocolate, raise their hand. All right, they're coming your way, Josh. In the meantime, what's that, guys? You got something to say? They're calling for you, Josh. Get the pocketbook out. They're ready.
This is a somewhat limited offer in that I only bought $100 worth of singles. So I count how many people you got out there, Jim, and I'm good for the first hundo.
Oh, they could bring their address. You could always mail it to them.
Mail them the hot chocolate.
No, mail them the dollar.
Oh, mail them the dollar. Chuck Greenberg just had a cup of hot chocolate brought to him, I understand, by an appreciative Ranger fan. I've just been informed there's this thing called the ATM at the ballpark as well. So Michael Young, the batter, a 2-1 count. Make it 3-1 as the Rangers try to run out a little further here on Mr. Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Yeah, I think the fact that the Rangers have hit his fastball pretty well today has him a little bit concerned about throwing his fastball. One shouldn't be afraid of that.
No.
91 miles an hour in the outside corner.
We mentioned earlier Michael's had some success in the past against Daisuke. 7 of 11 with a homer coming in today, and he sent Ryan Kalish all the way back near the wall, and is at bat in the first. Michael has done it to Matsuzaka again. On to lead off the bottom of the third and bringing up David Murphy. Again, yesterday, a 3-1 final. Boston with the win. The Rangers never did have a hit with a runner in scoring position. And in scoring their run today, Tom, they didn't have a hit with a runner in scoring position, but they produced. They got a sac bunt and a sac fly. Josh Hamilton on deck. Murphy hits it high, hits it deep, but not deep enough.
Well, he just missed that ball. No help from the wind. There appears to be very little breeze down on the field. I think on plenty of nights where the wind tends to help the balls hit the right field, that would have been a home run. Without any wind, he didn't quite get enough of it to get it out of here. It looked good coming off the bat, but I don't think he hit it on the good part of the bat. Just missed it.
The MVP candidacy continues to be trumpeted around here. And ownership is well aware that Josh Hamilton as a Ranger long term is a heck of an idea. We'll see where that goes. We'll see where the Cliff Lee situation goes. It's nice to have guys you want to keep around. Back to Daisuke Matsuzaka. Though it was hit hard, this is a double play.
He's not fooling anybody today. That was a bullet hit back the middle. He's looking at his hand on his glove right now. That ball was hit so hard. So he's only given up one run, but he's given up enough line drives.
At the ballpark, we'd like to recognize James Wood Motors for their support of the Decatur Baseball League. For more info on Chevy's commitment to Youth League Baseball, just go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. Not the sellout of the last few games, but considering it is 100 degrees today, And not a lot of breeze to cool things off. It's a nice turnout here in Arlington to watch the Rangers and the Red Sox. The Rangers have to go on the road. They go east when this one is done. They go play Tampa Bay, and then they go play Baltimore. Not that it's going to be 48 and breezy in either of those locations, but at least in Tampa, the games will be indoors. Cliff Lee against David Price tomorrow, and that one doesn't really need a lot of setup, I guess, Tag. You're talking about the two primo lefties, maybe other than John Lester in the American League, and they'll be head-to-head tomorrow night.
Yeah, good pitching matchups anytime you play Tampa Bay, and it doesn't matter which guy in the rotation you get. They've got a bunch of good starters. You have a David Price all-star starter coming into his own as a frontline starting pitcher this year. Mid-90s fastball guy.
Got 15 wins already. There's a foul from Martinez. Yeah, it'll be Price 15-5 against Lee 11-5. The ERAs are very close together, 2.57 for one, 2.84 for the other.
Yeah, Jeff Neiman went on the disabled list, and they called up their best young prospect, Jeremy Hellickson, and he's pitched several really good games for them. So their depth in their rotation is what gives them a chance to be a contender.
I gave Cliff an extra win. He's got 10 now. Just assuming it's going to be 11, but the Rangers have struggled with Tampa Bay the last couple of years. They've won 6 of their last 20 against the Rays. Taken, called third strike. And Ted Barrett's strike zone has been fairly consistent out there. The last inning, Darnell McDonald got rung up out there, and now here's Martinez.
Yeah, well, the thing is, McDonald got rung up, but he got run up on a strike. That ball was in the strike zone. That pitch there is close enough to be a strike. If anything, it's an inch out of the strike zone. So it's one thing to get rung up, but it's not like he's expanded the zone to 6 inches out of the strike zone to be a strike. Red Sox have argued at a lot of the strikes, but the pitch tracker has shown that almost every one of them has been in or touching the strike zone. So just because they complain doesn't mean it's not a strike.
And you don't want to take it up with Ted Barrett on a Sunday. He's heavily involved in ministry. He's got his master's in biblical studies from Trinity. And he didn't want to hear cuss words today, so leave him alone.
But other days you're fair game, well, like the other 6 days, go for it.
Well, he's also got that boxing background too, we should remind everybody.
Now that might keep you from doing it.
Either way, leave the umpire alone. He was also captain of the football team in college with Ted Barrett. A lot of reasons just to let him do his thing.
You just mentioned 2 pretty good ones. Football and boxing.
So please don't get into his face. Used to be a sign at the old ballpark in Kansas City years and years ago. It said, "Don't shoot the umpire. He's doing the best he can."
Yeah, I wouldn't advise shooting him no matter what he's doing. Even if he's trying to do a bad job, don't shoot him.
That a hot sports opinion from Tom Grieve.
That might not stand too well in court. When your defense is, he just wasn't doing the best he could, so I shot him.
Line shot foul by Beltre. I once shot a man just for snoring in his sleep, Dag, so.
Well, you shouldn't have been in bed with him in the first place.
Okey-dokey. Good night, everybody. My partner, Shecky Grieve. The 1-2 pitch. Off the end of the bat. And Bourbon going over. Can't get it. Adrian Beltre with an extra base hit in 9 of his last 12 games. It didn't even look like he got all of that.
And Beltre's having a great year, and he's swinging at everything in that at bat, fouling off some pitches that were out of the strike zone until he got something that he could get the bat on. He's strong. He's got power to all fields, and that pitch is tailing away from him on the outside corner. Stays up a little bit. I guess that helped him get the bat on it, but a ball tailing away from someone like that, you don't expect him to hit it 390 feet to left center field. But he's hitting 330. He's hit a lot of guys this year.
On the ground to short, and there is Elvis Andrus to get that second out, and that makes you feel a little bit better. One pitch to get Mike Lowell. And Jared Saltalamacchia coming up. A reminder, folks, Mondays at the ballpark, Military Mondays. You can join us on August the 23rd, the next Monday home game. Rangers against the Twins. Bring your active or retired military ID and receive one free ticket with every regularly priced ticket. Sponsored by WBAP. Salty will send one into the crowd. 0-1.
Want to thank Tammy Oxendine from Wichita Falls for the delicious looking homemade apricot jelly that she sent up today. Thank you very much. And also my neighbor Gary Campanazzi sent up another one of his world famous Italian submarine sandwiches, homemade in his kitchen. And all the guys, I can look around and everyone's got a plate of that sandwich right now, so thank you very much. Bill Shaddix, we're finally getting around to his peanut brittle. That was in the freezer. And I want to wish Nikaya Thomas a happy birthday, number 12 today.
Down the line, this has got to be Michael Young throwing out Saltalamacchia. He does. Cantu's on the bag. And another bend but don't break inning for C.J. Wilson. It stays 1-0 Rangers. Bottom of the fourth coming up. That trivia question out there for you right now, brought to you by AT&T. So with Josh Hamilton batting .399 at home this year, who's got the American League record for the highest home batting average? The record for this ballpark, by the way, in a single season is our good friend Rusty Greer at a .370. Right now, Josh at .399. Well, he's coming in it today. Daisuke Matsuzaka to Jorge Cantu, strike one. Cantu, Moreland, and Teagard, and that's the part of the order that was leading off in the second when the Rangers scored. Cantu, line shot, base hit. And racing over to get it is Eric Patterson. Cantu is going to try it. Into second base he goes, and he is tagged out. And again, the Rangers aggressive on the bases. And that blurry line between aggressive and reckless continues to show up.
Yeah, there won't be many games where a pitcher gets hit as hard as Matsuzaka's getting hit and only give up 1 run. They've been hitting line drive. Last 2 outs, Hamilton hit a bullet back up the middle that, to his credit, he caught and turned into a double play. That's fielding your position and helping yourself out. Now Cantu hits a line drive down the left field line, gets thrown out at second base. 3 outs on 2 line drives, 2 hard hit balls. One really wasn't a line drive, it was a smash on the ground back to Matsuzaka. Pretty good at bats for the Rangers. Consistently for 3+ innings.
Chopped foul by Moreland.
I was about to wish Nakaya Thomas a happy birthday. She's the granddaughter of Billy Foster, one of the members of the Texas Rangers Women's Club. She lives in Winnie, Texas. So Nakaya, if you're watching today, happy 12th birthday.
Swept along to first. And Victor Martinez today handling that position. With 2 out, we go to Emily Jones.
Well, Josh, cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
This was free, thanks to you. The tip for my friend here, Travis, who went and got this hot chocolate for me, $1. But some afternoon ribbing on a Sunday of Josh Lewin is just quite priceless. Back up to you.
Well,
I didn't see you drink it, Em.
And by the way, our Emily Jones only spilled some of that hot chocolate on that last foul ball. That's what the universe gives you for making fun of the play-by-play guy, Em.
Exactly.
I'm glad everybody's enjoying their $1 hot chocolate today. Wasn't my idea to lower it to $1. That was ownership. That was Mr. Ryan and Mr. Greenberg. I just thought, it was going to be 100 and something today.
Just trying to promote the concession stand. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm trying to move products, Thomas.
Nothing wrong with that. I like the effort.
Also glad that today is payday. Mentioned the Rangers going to Tampa Bay when this one is done. 3 there and then 4 in Baltimore. And boy, it's a case where the Orioles are playing their best ball of the year right now. I've already seen them play very decently in a short sample against the Rangers right here. Baltimore sweeping the Rangers right before the All-Star break, but Buck Showalter has taken that job, and whether it's Buck ball or just circumstance, Baltimore is doing a really nice job the last 2 weeks. Inside to Teagarden. Baltimore trailing today in Tampa Bay 3-1 in the 8th. Teagarden swings and misses. Matsuzaka out of the inning. 1-0 at Rangers as we go to the 5th. is lowering prices. A toast from the Toastmaster right there, Chuck Greenberg. Did Emily Jones just send Chuck more hot chocolate?
I think Emily took one sip and then gave it to Chuck.
Well, the fans sure appreciate what Nolan and Chuck have been through and gone through just to have the opportunity to do things like lowering the price of a nice, cold, frosty beverage. We go to the 5th, and C.J. Wilson will be taking on Bill Hall here. See, bottom third of the order, actually. Hall, Kalish, and Patterson. Steve Busby will join us in this inning to talk not just concession prices, but to talk pitching on a warm afternoon, something that Buzz is quite familiar with, having been in Kansas City doing that. And Tom was talking earlier, Buzz, the whole sun beating down on the AstroTurf thing, nothing like that in Missouri in August, I can imagine.
The only thing that was worse, Josh, was when it had just rained a little bit and the turf got wet. And you'd see steam coming up about 6 or 7 feet above the turf the entire game. It's almost a fog, but it got a little warm up there.
Base hit for Bill Hall to open things in the 5th. Is it too simple to say it's mind over matter? I mean, I'm sure that's what somebody probably told you at some point, but can the mind really do that?
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, although, when you start running out of gas, you run out of gas much more quickly, and I don't care how positive an outlook you have, you're going to be pretty pooped. But it's what you make of it. I think if you focus on it a lot, it's going to be worse. It's going to feel worse, and you feel sorry for yourself because you're so hot.
I can remember a game in Kansas City, Buzz, one time playing right field there, and it was so hot on that turf.
How hot was it?
Well, I don't know what the temperature was, but while you're standing out there, it's like being on your bare feet on the sidewalk. That's what your feet felt like, to where when you got back into the dugout, they had buckets of water that everybody was using to cool off with. We just took our feet and stuck them right in the buckets with our spikes on. It didn't even matter. You just wanted to cool your feet off, no matter whether it slowed you down or not. It was so uncomfortable playing on that turf.
But there was a game I remember, I'll never forget, a Sunday afternoon when the Rangers were in Kansas City, and I was pitching against Gaylord. And it had been hot for about a week, so that turf had a chance to heat up. And George Toma, the groundskeeper up there, took a thermometer, a standard wall thermometer, put it out on the turf in the bullpen, and it broke at 140.
Wow. So that might have been the day I'm talking about.
It could have been. That was a I'll never forget that. Neither Gaylord or I wanted to stand out there very long, so it was a fairly fast game.
C.J. Wilson now gets a chance to face a couple lefties here, Buzz, and we've been talking about just a complete ownership of lefties that C.J. has had this year. To what do we attribute that? How do we explain that?
Well, I think that it becomes a confidence thing. There's more ownership right there.
Yeah, it's a 4-6 free double play for C.J.
Yeah.
I really like Kalish. This kid's a good ball player, boy. He can run. He almost beat that double play out. He can throw. He can play center field. He's swinging the bat well against C.J. He's a good-looking little ball player, boy. Not much of an effort by Hall. Just ducking out of the way there, but...
Josh, I think it's a carryover, as far as I'm concerned, a carryover for a reliever, especially C.J.'s case. Late in the ball game, he was primarily, when he wasn't closing, brought in to face left-handed hitters. You build up that confidence against left-handed hitters. I know C.J. had it as a reliever, and I think that's carried over into his starting assignment. So it's just, he has the stuff to really make it tough on left-handers, and he has the confidence to go along with it from experience.
Well, again, facing a lefty now. He looks confident. I mean, like a guy who knows lefties hit 100 against him. He just rifled in a couple of fastballs to Patterson. Wow. Can you stay for a little longer, Buzz? I mean,
sure.
Hardly had a chance to talk to you. With C.J. with a double play and a strikeout to keep this thing 1-0. Blanco, Bourbon, and Andrews coming up. As we go to the bottom of the 5th, Steve Busby continues with us in the booth for a little while as we get you back to that AT&T trivia question. Josh Hamilton making a run at the best home batting average ever in the American League. Got a ways to go, though. Wade Boggs at Fenway in 1985. That's pretty impressive. 418, just going the other way and just playing wall ball for a summer.
Buzz, were you playing in Kansas City when Brett almost hit 400?
Yes, it sure was. 1980.
That's 500 at bats. That had to be fun to watch. That.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody. You guys had Al Oliver in the club, who I thought hit the ball as hard as anybody every time up.
Yeah.
George had about a 4-month run like that, where everything he hit was right on the screws. And yeah, I was kind of surprised he didn't hit 400 as hot as he was.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like, because Julio Franco had a year here where he won the batting championship.
Right.
Hit 340 and felt like he hit line drives all season long. He was 60 points short.
Yeah. In this day and age, for the last 40 or 50 years, it's hard to conceive of somebody being good enough to hit 400 for a full season. But when you watch Josh Hamilton, the way he's going now, you can see how it might happen sometime.
Yeah.
Blanco down on strikes. Well, Matsuzaka, when he's on, and obviously the Red Sox wouldn't have spent all this money just to get in the room and talk to him in the first place if he didn't have something of value, but it's an interesting guy.
Yeah, he is, Josh, and I've noticed today that both he and CJ, I think in the past they have so many different pitches they feel they can throw. They probably possess 6 or 7 different kinds of pitches. Neither one of them is going away from a more simplistic approach, and I think they both have very good success today because of that. I call it sometimes outdumbing yourself as a pitcher, and trying to throw 38 different pitches to guys because you think they can hit the other 37.
Well, and that really was the essence of Matsuzaka. That's something that was sold to Red Sox Nation. The point of this guy, it's not that he's got 4 pitches, he's got 8 pitches.
Yeah.
One that we've never even heard of before, called the gyro ball. Did you ever buy that gyro ball thing or not really?
No. They showed it in slow-mo. I think one time I was watching him on TV, and
what is it?
It looked like a 2-seam fastball.
Yeah.
Well, you call it whatever you want to, but if it walks like a duck and quacks, it's a duck.
Pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Well, one thing Matsuzaka's definitely got, and it's because he modeled his game after Nolan Ryan's growing up in Japan. He asked around as a kid, why is Nolan Ryan so powerful? And his coaches said, well, he's got those powerful legs. You drive with your legs. And Matsuzaka just worked and worked and worked to get the most powerful legs that he could. And through interpreters, he said that's because I wanted to be like Nolan Ryan.
I don't think he quite made it. So much the idea of legs make the pitcher.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. You got to have strong legs, but there's a few more things that go into it. Like the good Lord tapping you on the shoulder and saying you're going to throw 100 like no one.
Yeah, when you're
that would help.
When you're 46 years old.
Right.
Well, he's getting it going right now because he has struck out the last 3 Rangers: Teagard, Blanco, and Bourbon.
And Blanco and Bourbon seeing a good dose of breaking balls.
The only run today coming on a sac fly.
Well, the Rangers had some other opportunities. They had the man running with 2 outs when Elvis hit the line shot up the middle that the shortstop caught because he was covering second base. That would have been a run. Kalish has made a couple of nice plays out in center field. Matsuzaka made a nice play to help himself out on that smash hit by Josh Hamilton. Buzz, were you a good fielding pitcher? Did you take pride in your fielding?
Yeah, I took a lot of pride in it, Tom. That doesn't mean I was very good.
But it is a fact that you can definitely help yourself by being a good fielder.
I was usually off balance if you have an ideal, quote unquote, ideal way to finish. That wasn't me. But what I tried to do was be as quick as I could with my feet to get into a better fielding position in a hurry.
Right.
I took a lot of pride in fielding bunts and things like that. Getting the lead runners on first and second, those kinds of things. And I also took a lot of pride in the pickoff plays. I tried to develop good moves to every base, primarily because I had a lot of guys on, a lot of practice.
Want to keep it close.
Yeah.
On the ground is short. Well, even keeping you for a full inning, nothing really happened, Buzz. I feel bad.
It's the day of the pitcher and the year of the pitcher.
I guess it is. Steve Busby will be on Rangers Live when the game is done. Right now, the Rangers continue to lead the Boston Red Sox by the score of 1-0.
Pitches, but for the most part, he's been hitting the right side of the plate, meaning not the center of the plate. He's mixed up his pitches well with cutters, sliders, off-speed pitches, you name it, and he's done well. He's through 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs. Matsuzaka, although he's been hit a little harder, is hanging in there, only 1 run through 5 innings. So in the heat, last night, John Lester went 8 innings, 5 hits, no runs, didn't walk a batter. Kobe, 6 2/3, 1 run, only 2 walks and 9 strikeouts, and both Wilson and Matsuzaka are pitching well today. So the heat has not been an issue with any of the 4 starting pitchers last night or this afternoon.
And CJ continues to dominate this Boston team. We talked off the top about his first couple starts against him here in 2010, both going real well. Top third of the order here with Scudero, McDonald, and Martinez. Scudero twice has rolled the ball to Michael Young at third. This time he's going to roll it to short. A little bit of progress. Out number 1. Chuck Greenberg is about 25 or 30 rows up from the owner's box right now. He's just kind of diving in and meeting the peeps. Been asked to sign some autographs, it looks like now too, but he was glad handing all the way. We had our eyes on him. And my bet is he will eventually end up in the bleachers out there in the outfield, kind of Bill Veeck style, Wrigley Field style. It's now been a week and a half since the news came down that the ownership was going to be where it was going to be, but it's only been 3 days since it was all confirmed. I know that was just kind of a rubber stamp kind of a deal, but you never trust, you never assume anything, I suppose. And as both Mr. Ryan and Mr. Greenberg have said, now it's all about what's happening down there on the field. And thankfully, that's been a very enjoyable thing going on. All right, by the way, we now have Rangers captain in on the whole shtick here. He just brought a whole bunch of kids over here that want, what, hot chocolate and ice cream? I'm just buying hot chocolate, Captain. I gotta buy ice cream now, too? Fine. McDonald, a wave and a miss.
Change up. Good pitch by CJ.
How many kids do I have to take care of here? 1, 2, 3. No, that's not bad. It's like 5.
You think Captain can keep the change and go buy them for the kids?
Here, go buy yourself some oats.
Well, that's a well-located changeup with good tailing action to it. McDonald out in front of it.
Here you go, Captain. Freeloading horse.
It's like Robin Hood.
Wait, steals from the play-by-play guy and gives to the little
from the
kids?
rich and given to the poor.
I should be less bitter about all this. You're right. 1-0 to Martinez.
Hey, if you're trying to move product, you should
be
pleased when you're moving the product.
I'm making it rain, Tag. That's...
I mean, when people put something on sale, they're not happy when no one buys it.
Oh, that's true. I didn't exactly make the hot chocolate, though.
No, but you made the bet.
Yeah.
How disappointed those little kids would have been if they came here and you stiffed them.
It's the old Ralph Cramden. I got a big mouth. And a lot of people are drinking hot chocolate when it's 102. 1-0. Rangers over the Red Sox. Grand Slam this inning. We're giving away $25,000 in $1 bills. So you can register at any North Texas Sonic restaurant. The Rangers have a 1-0 lead on an Andres Blanco sac fly way back in the second. The C.J. Wilson, Daisuke Matsuzaka pitchers duel rolls on. Only 7 hits total in the game, and this is reminiscent, Tag, of where we were last night, a 1-0 game in the 6th inning, except it was flip-flopped the other way.
Yeah, and we're looking down and watching the game. I guess it's not surprising, but it actually looks like the position players are a little bit more tired than the pitchers are. Of course, they're standing out there in the sun, running the bases, chasing down fly balls. Both the pitchers seem to be handling it pretty well.
Well, we mentioned it earlier. Both of these guys are very well-conditioned pitchers. The legend of Matsuzaka is that he does not ice his arm after games, which I find hard to believe. Unless he's bionic. I don't know how you do that.
Well, another way of looking at that is Cy Young never iced his arm.
And he's at 511 wins.
He pitched every day.
They named an award after him.
Satchel Paige did nice his.
That one's up and into Michael Young.
You're just used to icing your rear end today, keeping yourself cool. So everybody doesn't do that.
I'll have you know my reusable gel pack has been on my neck, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I saw you sitting on it last inning.
That was it's not the same gel pack. You don't mix on that. The neck appreciates that.
I noticed the one on your neck's not melting quite as fast as the other one.
A little less meat on my neck. The 2-1 to Michael. Wave and a miss. Off for the cooler climbs of Tampa St. Pete, where the Rangers are headed next.
Hey, we could be like the Red Sox announcers. They don't even have their windows open.
That's weak. I told Remy that, too. There's not a lot of air conditioning anyway, but I mean, come on, you gotta. If Chuck Greenberg can take it to the people, so can we. Open your windows.
Yeah, I'd be embarrassed to go down and get on the plane today with our windows closed when those guys are out there playing in the sun.
We've been
all we're doing is sitting up here talking.
Well, and we got a fan. I mean, people can even see that now, so we're fine. What I'm impressed with is you got fans here today. I can see them sweating through their shirts. Radio guys have their window open. Then there are the sissies, and then there's us.
That is Jerry Remy
and the
Don Orsillo.
Great Don Orsillo. Michael Young thought he might have had ball 4. Instead, it's strike 3. And we kid because we love, by the way. Red Sox Nation, please. Remdog is great. Orsillo's way better than me, so let's not even go there. Let's go instead to Emily Jones.
Guys, here to remind you to check out FoxSportsSouthwest.com. There you can find all the latest on the Rangers' recent roster moves. Also, former Cowboy and former Texas Aggie, Dat Wynn back in Aggieland, coaching linebackers, and also the latest on the PGA Championship. Gentlemen, back up to you, and looking forward to heading out on the road with you guys this time.
Yeah, looking forward to having you in sunny Tampa St. Pete.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Matt Suzuka's throwing better now than he was at the beginning of the game. That last fastball was 92 miles an hour. That's his best velocity of the day.
And they just
got one backing it up. It's almost like he started out the game pacing himself a little bit. Got knocked around, only gave up 1 run in the last couple innings. He's firing it up there.
The two pitchers have combined for 13 strikeouts already. That one popping away from Saltalamacchia. C.J. Wilson had 6 strikeouts at the 3 1/3 innings mark today. By the way, the A's are winning today, 2-1 over Minnesota. They just scored twice in the 8th to take that lead. The Angels are losing. Toronto's got them 2-0 in the 5th.
Ricky Romero just got a big contract. He's feeling good out there today, pitching in front of his hometown fans.
That's the one guy who has shut out the Rangers this year. The only guy to have shut out the Rangers this year is Ricky Romero. More hot chocolate customers here. Hang on.
Well, you got a pile of ones. You can handle it.
There you go, dude. Hamilton on deck. One run, 4 hits, no errors for the Rangers. 0-3-0 for Boston. Another strikeout from Matsuzaka. That's 5 of the last 6 Rangers now have struck out.
There's no doubt he's throwing the ball better now than he was at the beginning of the game. Everything's better. His breaking pitches are better. His location is better. His velocity is better.
We'll see if Hamilton can break his rhythm. Hit the ball hard last time, but on one bounce back to Daisuke, who turned it into a double play. 6 strikeouts from Matsuzaka. Actually, I'm sorry, 7 now. And 8 for C.J. Wilson.
C.J. had a nice game in Boston where he walked 5 but struck out 10. Good changeup right there by Matsuzaka. He's got it all going for him right now.
This would be pretty impressive. If he happens to strike out Josh, he's going to strike out Young, Murphy, and Hamilton. As we randomly say hello to Amarillo. Did that hit him? It did. It hit him in the foot on 0-2. The Rangers get a break. And Josh Hamilton seems no worse for the wear, so that breaks the run of strikeouts for Daisuke. Cantu's coming up.
See if Josh is running right here. It's kind of a situation where you might expect him to be running. A couple of outs. Close ball game. Murphy stole a base earlier in the game. That was back in the first inning.
Cantu is still looking for his first Ranger RBI. And that's surprising because, as we've talked about, he's established himself as a big RBI guy. This is his 13th Ranger game. I think once Cantu starts slamming doubles and homers, and once Vladdy gets back to doing that, the Rangers get even a little bit more in an already beefed up lineup. Of course, they're going to have Kinsler coming back in a couple of weeks is the hope. Now you got to hope that Nelson Cruz is okay. Again, Nelly going for an MRI just to make sure that that hamstring isn't in a terrible shape. He's already spent time on the DL with both hamstrings being strained. One and 2. And no sign of Hamilton running yet. Nelly had that walk-off homer, another extra inning homer the other night. He's hit 4 extra inning home runs this year. That's a Ranger record by 2. So it's Tim Wakefield in a little 2004 ALCS deja vu. One pitch. The guy wearing number 17 hammers it out in extra innings. Aaron Boone more famously did that to Tim Wakefield. A little more was on the line at the time. Actually, that was 0-3, wasn't it? Hamilton goes. Wave and a miss by Cantu to end the inning. Matsuzaka strikes out the side. He's got 8. CJ's got 8. The Rangers lead 1-0. Texas Chevy dealers, proud sponsor of Texas baseball. By 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no 2:30 feeling later. And by Whataburger, just like you like it. Adrian Beltre is going to lead things off here in the top of the 7th. This is a challenging guy in a 1-0 game. Beltre has been really on about everything now ever since the All-Star break, and he was an All-Star. It was rumored that he might not be going. They had an injury that might prevent him from going. Michael Young was on alert. Thought that maybe he might sneak in after all to his 7th All-Star game. But then Beltre said, wait a minute. I might be a little banged up, but I'm going. And Michael Young basically said, well, no offense. I have no problem with that. Beltre is the guy that got voted. He should go if he wants to go. Beltre has already grounded out to Michael once. The last time up, he had a double to left center. The only extra base hit that C.J. Wilson's allowed all day. And C.J. is going to get him here. Blanco whips it to first.
Nice pitching right there.
Mike Lowell will come up with one out. We go to Jim Knox.
All right, thanks, Josh. Time for the progressive fan of the game. It has to be Colin from Tyler, Texas, holding his paint all game long, rooting for the Rangers. Big Ranger fan. The only problem is girlfriend Katie's a Red Sox fan. What is wrong with that?
Jim, if I'm the progressive fan of the game, I'll break up with her right now.
Really? Here's your back. There you go. Enjoy the progressive fan of the game. Way to go, Colin.
Thank you, Jim.
You go get her now.
Seems a little harsh, but tote bag or true love? I'm gonna go with tote bag, Alex.
The CJ pitched Beltre nicely. Everything away. Ended up taking a little off, hit it right off the end of the bat, jumps ahead of Lowell, who...
Well, he's going to just miss.
Just missed down the left field line. Ooh, that was close.
Let's see how close it was. About that close.
That's pretty close. CJ at 95 pitches right now in the 7th inning.
Just a couple starts ago, CJ was at 85 in the 3rd inning. And that was a start he'd like to have back, that one in Seattle.
And if you're both managers, I think one thing that you want from your pitchers is to throw strikes. And in the game, CJ hasn't walked a batter, and Matsuzaka's only walked a couple. So both pitchers have taken that and gone with it and thrown strikes. 2nd inning, the only big pitch total inning for CJ. Very efficient since then.
Looking for strikeout number 9. Not yet. There have been some 2nd innings for some reason this year where CJ has that high pitch count, and it's just a matter of what happens after that. Weekly hit back to CJ, taking care of Mike Lowell. Your Coors Light Freeze Cam, we're going to show you some of the C.J. Wilson strikeout artistry. Some called 3rd strikes today.
Watch the location of them. Watch the catcher's glove. And one thing you'll notice is that's where they are on the strikeouts. He's making good pitches on both sides of the plate. The backdoor cutter. No walks and 8 strikeouts for C.J. And not much in the way of hard hit balls. This game's a lot like last night's game with the roles changed. CJ's pitching like Lester, and Matsuzaka. I think actually Kobe threw the ball better than Matsuzaka's throwing it today, but both of them in a real close game, both of them only giving up 1 run, yet behind.
There's only been one game this year until today that CJ has not walked a batter. That was that 1-0 game against the Angels about 3 weeks ago. Shattered bat. Sorry, Salty. But Wilson, a 3-hitter at the stretch. Beating the heat, impressing the fans. We'll keep it right here for God Bless America on this Sunday afternoon at the ballpark.
We ask you to please rise.
To the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Rangers still clinging to that 1-0 lead. It's time for Chevy at the ballpark and recognizing James Woods Motors for their support of the Decatur Baseball League. For more info on Chevy's commitment to Youth League Baseball, just go to ChevyTexasBaseball.com. As a preview of the Lee versus Price pitching matchup tomorrow, it's Wilson against Matsuzaka today, and Chuck Greenberg, now large and in charge, is out. That's out there in the oven right there. That's the bleachers. And he's made it from the owner's box to out there. And if somebody happens to homer out there, that I guess would be the ultimate. The owner catches a home run ball. Mitch Moreland opens things up in the bottom of the 7th. A base hit to make it 2 times on base today. Taylor Teagarden comes up next. Do we see another sacrifice from Taylor, maybe?
I would think so. And another good at bat for Mitch Moreland. He walked in the 2nd after Cantu had singled. That led to Teagarden's very nice sacrifice bunt and a sacrifice fly by Blanco. Sliced in the left field for a base hit, and I would have to think that you'd have a sacrifice situation right here.
There's the bunt.
Boy, 2 excellent bunts. One down each side, down the 3rd base line, that one down the first base line. And if you're a coach wanting to teach your kids how to bunt, go back and take another look at both of those bunts by Taylor Teagarden, because they were textbook sacrifice bunts.
3 hours in 100-degree weather last night doing the catching. He comes right back out this afternoon. He is catching a 3-hit shutout. And then at the plate, drops down a couple of sacrifice bunts in a 1-0 game.
In last night's game, Eric Patterson laid down a perfect sacrifice bunt. So it's not a lost art. There still are guys that know how to bunt. Matsuzaka will throw his 100th pitch right here. And his best 2 innings have been his last 2 innings. He struck out 5 in the last 2 innings.
Blanco with that sac fly RBI in the 2nd. Now has to be a 2-strike hitter, with Matsuzaka's pitch count just now reaching 100.
Hanger right there. Good swing at it. Good pitch to hit. He just missed it. Matsuzaka knew he made a mistake. He kind of tapped himself on the chest as if to say, my fault.
A check of the runner off second. Inside to Blanco with Bourbon due next. The Rangers have Vlad Guerrero, among others, off the bench available today. Remember, Brandon Boggs is here as well, just called up from AAA. Boston's got a lot of firepower on its bench, including Ortiz and J.D. Drew. Loop towards the crowd. Nice catch. Beach towel and the foul ball souvenir. There's only been one extra base hit this whole game. It has not been by the Rangers. It was Adrian Beltre with 1 out in the 4th. He got moved to 3rd on a grounder, but then was left on base. It stays 1-0. The Rangers have had some games like this, Tom, the last few weeks, where they score 0, 1, or 2. About half the games they've played the last 3 weeks, it's been 0, 1, or 2 on the scoreboard, but they actually have a winning record during that time. They've got a 1-0 win in there. They got a couple of 2-1s.
That's credit to the pitching staff. And that's, you know, the hitters have certainly carried their load this year, but to have a great season and be a pennant-winning team, everybody has to pull their weight, and that's what the Rangers are having this year. Their hitters pulling the weight when they need to, and the pitchers doing the same thing. Team effort all the way.
Mitch Moreland has certainly been that kind of guy, making a difference. Salty out there to talk to Matsuzaka, and the fans are getting tired of waiting here. Minnesota, by the way, beat Oakland. That has gone final now. Kevin Slowey with the win. So the A's are starting to slide again. The Angels are trailing 4-1. That game's in the 6th inning against Toronto. A little cue shot right down the line, but then foul. A long at bat for Blanco. If Toronto hangs on and if the Rangers hang on, the Rangers would hit the road 8.5 games up.
Yeah, I think the one series for the rest of the season that looks as tough as any series is the 4-game series in Toronto. Toronto's a good team. They're 6 or 7 games over 500. They've got pitchers that can beat you. They've got a home run hitting ball club. And the Rangers had a tough time up there early in the season, too.
Boy, Blanco just wearing out Matsuzaka here. There's that Minnesota final over Oakland and that Toronto update with Romero on the mound. Your Jack in the Box AL West standings up to the minute. The A's now 2 games under 500. They're still getting that very good pitching. They're just not scoring enough.
Yeah, White Sox are losing. Minnesota could take a 3-game lead on the White Sox.
Minnesota's a team the Rangers are going to see quite a bit of over the next few weeks. Outside. Well, give Blanco some credit. Moreland hadn't a bat like this in the 2nd inning. Manny Del Carmen's been warming in the Boston bullpen. It's a 10-pitch at bat now with Blanco.
So Blanco had, as we said, good at bats last night, good at bats today.
Oh, it's close. It's 3-2. Again, the Rangers have 3 second basemen on the DL right now. Blanco is going to be playing for quite a while now until Kinsler's ready to come back.
Borderline pitch, could have gone either way. Blanco got the call that time.
Moving the runner to third. Bill Hall falls down. Blanco almost beat it out. And bravo, Blanco. That whole at bat just hanging in there. The Rangers still have a shot to get the run home now. It'll be Julio Bourbon.
That's the kind of play that Josh might have scored on if he was on second base.
Good job to recapture it there by Billy Hall.
Yep. Stayed with it. One thing that helps Hall on that kind of a play at second base is he's got a strong arm.
First one poured in there for a strike. Looks like the Red Sox just may get 7 innings out of Daisuke today.
I'll give him credit. He's pitching better at the end than he was at the beginning. And he's withstood the heat, and he's at 110 pitches right now. Strong performance from no one warming up in the Ranger bullpen. CJ will go back out for the 8th, just like Lester did last night for the Red Sox. Just about the same kind of a pitch count, too.
Bourbone's going to bunt it towards second base. Julio gets it done.
That is a thing of beauty. You know, you can hit a home run, and that's exciting. That's not a squeeze play, obviously, with 2 outs, but the bunt for a base hit with a man on third, 2 outs in a close game, that is a pretty play and a perfect bunt. There was nothing Hall could do on it.
2 teams known for slugging the heck out of the ball for years involved in classic little ball today. The Rangers back in the 2nd had a sac bunt and a sac fly to score a run. In this inning, it's a sac bunt and a bunt single to get a run in.
Yeah, and in both cases, Teagarden was the guy with a perfect sacrifice bunt. If Julio can learn to do that consistently down both lines, he'll add 15 points to his batting average every year just by being able to bunt. That's a great weapon for a player like him, and that's what he needs to do. To be as good as he can be, that's what he needs to be able to do.
Third baseman Beltre had been playing in the whole time so that Bourbon wouldn't bunt up his way. Matsuzaka falls off slightly towards that third base side. And what Bourbon fastened in on is that one patch of grass that was going to be available. Martinez was not going to be able to get over. Hall was not going to be able to charge in time. Beautifully done. Couple of strikes to Elvis. When it really sets up well now, Tom, a 2-0 lead into the 8th, where CJ is going to face a couple of lefties. Tagged and a center base hit for Elvis on 0-2. Three singles in the inning, one of them a 2-out bunt. And up comes Michael Young. And out comes Terry Francona to remove Daisuke.
Well, Matsuzaka pitched his heart out. I don't know if he got a little tired at the end. Didn't look like it. He was throwing well, just the Ranger hitters. Moreland got a base hit, Anders got a base hit, but he's still throwing the ball fine at 115 pitches. So give him a plus for that outing today, both in performance and durability and guts and sticking it out there. That was a good, solid outing by Matsuzaka.
Well, Young, who's 8 out of 14 lifetime against Daisuke Matsuzaka, is not going to get to face Matsuzaka. Back to tell you about the new Boston pitcher in just a moment. It's 2-0 Rangers on Fox Sports Southwest. Time Rangers hits leader. $99.95 is the cost plus shipping and handling. Call 866-280-BATS or go to Big Time Bats. BOSATTEX.com. Michael with a hit today now has 1,800 hits in the big leagues, every single one of them as the Texas Ranger. He's going to take on Manny Del Carmen now. 101 degrees at the ballpark right now. And the Rangers leading 2-0. Trying to run and hide here if they can. Give C.J. Wilson more of a cushion. C.J.'s been sitting for a while. Had a quick and easy top of the 7th. Young drives at first pitch he sees. Left center field. It is gone!
A little bit like Nelly Cruz the other night. New pitcher, first pitch. And that puts the Rangers with a 5-run lead now.
Number 19 this year from Michael Young. And following up the 2-out bunt single from Bourbon and the 0-2 single up the middle from Elvis. You understand strategically why Terry Francona didn't want Matsuzaka facing Michael Young. Tiring in the heat. Young with the history of success against Dice-K. Well, he goes and gets Del Carmen, and that happens. A 4-run bottom of the 7th. And it all started, Tag, with that little flick of an opposite field base hit from Mitch Moreland.
Yeah, Moreland continues to have good at-bats. No doubt about it.
Moreland started it. Michael Young with an exclamation point. And what ends up is a 4-run bottom of the 7th. The Rangers lead by 5 on Fox Sports Southwest. Combo from the Rangers and Six Flags. Each double play combo gets you one lower box ticket to a non-premier Ranger game and one adult ticket to Six Flags. $100 value for only $50. That's in play when the Twins are in town August 23rd through 26th. 972 Rangers or TexasRangers.com to take advantage.
I think one thing you're seeing here in the 8th inning, Josh, CJ's at 101 pitches. And I know Ron's hoping he can have a nice quick inning, but there are 2 left-hand hitters, Kalish and Patterson, the second and third hitters of the inning. And even though the Rangers now have a 5-run lead, I think Ron feels more comfortable with CJ out there trying to get through this inning and get the 2 left-handers Matsuzaka went 115 pitches. Lester was well over 100 pitches in last night. Not sure what he ended up with last night. 112, 113 pitches maybe.
CJ's high for the year is 120. That was in Houston back in June. Now, obviously, there was a question, and CJ never questioned this, but, you know, people thinking, okay, CJ's not used to being a starting pitcher. How durable will he really be? Well, it's 102 degrees now. He's about to throw his 104th pitch. He's working on a shutout. Five runs on 8 hits for the Rangers, nothing on 3 for Boston. And Hall, who had the last base hit for Boston, is going to drive this one. Bourbon at the wall. He's got it. And what a 5 minutes it's been for Julio Bourbon.
Well, he's been watching Josh Hamilton play center field for a couple of weeks, and he gets in the act right with Josh going up against the wall. And Hall showed his power, reaching out for that ball and driving it 405 feet to dead center. And Julio goes up and makes a nice play.
Hall to the wall, and Bourbon.
Well, what concentration. Knows right where the wall is. Tracked it all the way.
CJ acknowledging with half of antlers right there, because it was, you know, it was a little bit of speed, mostly timing the jump. And with a glove on his right hand, I guess you can't really do the full-on antlers anyway, right? So.
No.
The lefty Ryan Kalish hit into a double play last time up. Also a strikeout victim back in the second inning. CJ's with 8 strikeouts today. Crowd of 30,252 braving the heat to watch this one. This homestand, only 5 games on the homestand, Tom, drawing more than 220,000.
That's been great. Great support. Red Sox really don't have anybody that can pinch hit for Kalish or Patterson. Under the assumption Lowry is unavailable today. He's a switch hitter, but Drew and Ortiz are both left-hand hitters, so I guess you could pinch hit with a left-hand hitter.
Bourbon again makes another fine catch.
Well, 2 hard hit balls right there. Kalish can swing the bat. He drove the ball well to left center field against CJ. The last time up he hit into a double play, but he hit the ball hard to second base. And that's against a pitcher who gives up about a 100 batting average to a left-hand hitter. Kalish hasn't been phased his last 2 times up. He's taken some good swings. But Julio getting a chance to show off a little bit with his speed. That's offensively and defensively.
It's only the 5th start for Julio the last 15 games. Murphy has just kind of crowded him out. But a gentle reminder of Julio Bourbon's skills today, and certainly, like we say, in the last 2 half innings. A 2-out RBI bunt single in the bottom of the 7th, and now this defensive tour de force in the top of the 8th. Wilson deflects it, and that might be the last thing for CJ right now. He's up at 112 pitches. Strope is ready in the bullpen. And Ron Washington is already on his way. But Wilson assuredly will get quite an ovation when he leaves. You talk about leaving it all out there today.
It was almost a carbon copy of the effort from John Lester last night. Lester pitched a 1/3 of an inning more. CJ gave up 1 less hit. Neither pitcher walked the batter. CJ will strike out 8. Lester struck out 5. So he matched the performance from the excellent lefty from the Red Sox, John Lester.
And finally a hint of a smile from a great competitor. 1 on, 2 out, 5-0. We're back in just a moment. Number 11 today, looking pretty good. He's up 5-0. Pedro Strop will take over. Sunday, August 29th, the Rangers and the A's have at it. First 8,500 fans, 13 and under that day, receive a chest protector backpack, compliments of Dr. Pepper and Albertsons. And Los Lonely Boys play a post-game concert that night, presented by State Farm. TexasRangers.com or 972-RANGERS, 2 ways to get your tickets. C.J. Wilson didn't quite get through 8, but close enough. Here's Pedro Strop trying to get Scutaro. A hard thrower, a former position player, puts it right there for strike 1. Been a couple of up and downs for Pedro this year between here and AAA. 2.1 ERA for Okie City this season. Runner goes, good jump, but a foul from Scutaro.
Well, they got a couple of position players out there, and Strop and Ogando, who can tune it up there in the mid-90s.
Only 1 walk.
I said no walks. It was 1 walk. Sorry. Salt to Lamaki in the 2nd inning.
And the 8 strikeouts, a lot of those were accumulated early. Scooped by Teagard.
I'll say it was.
Well, Taylor Teagard, you figure, is going to be losing, what do you figure, 7 or 8 pounds after sweating through this one?
You would think so.
He caught last night, too. Runner goes. And nothing Taylor Teagarden can do. A stolen base for Patterson. They're not going to give him a stolen base. Calling that defensive indifference.
Yeah, in a 5-0 game, there's no way he would be stealing a base if the Rangers weren't giving it to him. No one covered.
Yep. Well, if Wilson gets the win, we mentioned he goes to 11-5. The ERA would be down to about 3.15. That would be a top 10 in the league ERA. Cliff Lee right now at number 3, 2.58.
Well, the other thing CJ will improve upon is his opponent's batting average. That was 2nd best in the league coming in today, 216.
Yep. Trevor Cahill, he only won a little better.
Cliff Lee's been tough to hit. Colby's been tough to hit. All 3 of them in the top 10 or 12. All 3 with solid ERAs.
Now down to third base is Patterson. And that'll be on a wild pitch. Now, Strop had Scudero 0-2, but now it's 3-2.
They can't locate his slider very well, but with a 5-run lead, don't worry about that. Just throw your fastball. It's 95 miles an hour.
And to a guy who was 6 for his last 51. Go get him. Scudero goes and gets him. Murphy going back. It's off his glove and all the way to the wall. It is now 5-1. Scudero coasting into second. That run will be charged against CJ. That's too bad. That means no shutout. And one is suddenly very appreciative of the Michael Young 2-out, 3-run homer. Darnell McDonald now. He's 1 out of 3. By the way, Josh Hamilton's lead off in the bottom of the 8th. Josh still hitless today. There's McDonald sending one deep to right. Over the head of Moreland and gone. The Red Sox are back to within 5-3. Remember Frankie Francisco with that stiff back. Might have normally been out there in the 8th inning. The Rangers go with Strop. And he gives up a double to Scudero and a homer to McDonald. Nice opposite field stroke, and it just got out. So after the Rangers scored 4 in the bottom of the 7th, here are the Sox with 3 in the top of the 8th.
No, it's not a matter of stuff. It's a matter of being able to get his slider over or being able to locate his fastball a little bit better in the pitcher's zone, not the hitter's zone. Pitch to Scudero was pretty much down center square. That one was on the outside part of the plate, but about belt high.
The usually very tough Victor Martinez at the plate. He was 0 for 3 against CJ with 3 strikeouts. And a strike. Some discipline right there as Martinez. Watch that one fall low. Fastball outside corner. The Red Sox have chipped back, though. It is now 5-3. 2-0. Michael Young's homer made it a 5-0 game. C.J. Wilson was awesome all day, but then Pedro Strop giving up a little bit. Darnell McDonald's opposite field home run made it 5-3, and that's where we are now with Justin Richardson coming on to pitch as the temperature just keeps going up at the ballpark. We've seen it top out at 103. And Josh Hamilton looking for that first hit of the very warm afternoon is going to face Justin Richardson. Second time we've seen him in this series. Lefty to lefty, strike one. Coming into this game, Josh, over the last 3 days, had gone 9 for 14 with 5 of those hits going for extra bases. He had scored 7 runs. But today, a strikeout, a double play, also hit by a pitch. Hamilton, Cantu, and Moreland do for the Rangers, just trying to build the lead back a little bit more. It's going to be 4, 5, 6 in the Boston order in the 9th. And remember, they've got David Ortiz off the bench. You figure Beltre and Lowell will probably bat. Those are the first 2 guys due. But then for Saltalamacchia and Hall, Terry Francona could get Ortiz and J.D. Drew. Hit again with 2 strikes on him. That happened in the 6th. It will happen here in the 8th. And we go to Dana Larson while we have a moment.
Well, Josh, we want to remind everyone to join us for Rangers Live, the post-game show. We're happy it's a day game because that means Jim Sundberg will join us for the post-game analysis. There'll be a 3-man crew here along with Steve Busby. They'll answer your Ask the Analyst questions. Emily Jones will have player reaction on the field and in the clubhouse. We will show you how the Rangers' next 2 opponents did today and preview that all-star pitching matchup tomorrow. Game 1 in Tampa Bay, Cliff Lee and David Price. Lots to talk about. We're just getting warmed up here. So stay around with us just a little bit longer for the post-game show, guys.
All right, Dana, thanks. A pitching change here. We'll tell you about the new Boston hurler when we come back. A 5-3 lead for the Rangers. Special starting Thursday. Tom Brady and the Patriots take on the Falcons. Then on that Friday, the Eagles begin life without Donovan McNabb. They'll take on Ocho Cinco, T.O. and the Bengals. Both games start at 7 Central in high def on Fox. Michael Bowden comes into the ballgame. The Rangers trying to build on a 5-3 8th inning lead. Bowden just called up today from AAA. Guy with a good breaking ball. Josh Hamilton, the base runner. See if the Rangers think about sending him at some point. That's the former Ranger, Jarek Saltalamacchia, doing the catching for Boston today. And Tag, as you mentioned the other night, when Hamilton runs, it usually means something. It's usually a critical point in the game when he's doing it.
At last, let's see, 6th inning when he was hit by a pitch, he was running. Cantu ended up striking out on the pitch, but in a 1-0 game, that's a spot where you would expect him to run, and he was.
Couple of strikes to Cantu. Bowden, the 4th Boston pitcher today. They got 6 2/3 out of Daisuke Matsuzaka. The Rangers got 7 2/3 out of C.J. Wilson. They will look to get one clean, solid top of the 9th out of Neftali Feliz. Try to get save number 30 if it stays 5-3. Cantu down on strikes. Cannot move the runner. Cantu was 2 for his first 2 today, but now strikeouts his last 2 trips.
A good changeup right there from Bowden.
The Yankees were shut out in Kansas City today by Brian Bullington. 1-0.
I'm happy for that kid. That kid was Pittsburgh's first pick in the draft a number of years ago, and finally getting a chance to come to the big leagues and perform, and he's pitching pretty well. Very nice to see him do that.
Meantime, Toronto still leading in Anaheim. It's a 4-1 score. The Blue Jays on top in the 8th inning. Oakland has already lost to Minnesota. Infield, a double play depth, but with Josh Hamilton as that base runner, whoever's going to be turning a potential double play better be prepared to get flipped. Both these teams travel as soon as this game is over. The Red Sox are going home. They'll have an off day tomorrow. The Rangers will head on down to Tampa St. Pete. Strike to Moreland. Moreland had an opposite field to hit his last time up, and that's what started the 4-run rally in the 7th. Kind of a Josh Hamilton approach. A line drive in a left. If nothing else happens today, Tom, Josh is going to hit the road to hitting .360. That'll be 25 points higher than anybody else in the major leagues.
His on-base percentage, even though he didn't have a hit, went up today. Had 2 hit by pitches that got him on base. 2 out of the 4 times up.
Taken for a called 3rd strike on that outside corner. Mitch took a called 3rd strike in the bottom of the 9th yesterday. Now to keep the inning going, it's going to be Taylor Teagarden. Just off the plate, but again, Mr. Barrett's strike zone has been pretty much right there all afternoon. Ball getting away, and Hamilton is going to get up and go to second after all that. Martinez chased it kind of casually. We've already seen Hamilton make some mad dashes. He's lucky that ball didn't get by that cutout portion. Watch where this ball is going. It had gotten just to a little bit beyond that, over by the security guard. Hamilton might have gone to third. E1. Strike one to Taylor, who's had 2 beautiful sac bunts this afternoon. Really keying both of the run-scoring innings, the second and the 7th. Now he's got to swing the bat. He was doing that well in Oakland last weekend. Had a couple of home runs.
Well, the sacrifice bunt, I wouldn't go quite so far as to say it's a lost art in Major League Baseball, but there's definitely not as many guys who can sacrifice bunt as there were years and years ago. Taylor laid down 2 very well executed sacrifice bunts.
Hanging in there. Fouls a fastball. Feliz is all set. He's been warmed up and ready now for a while. And again, it'll be a challenging 9th inning because it'll be Beltre and Lowell, and then assumably at some point David Ortiz or at least J.D. Drew off the bench. Saltalamacchio at the block. The 2 guys who had the friendly rivalry. Who was going to be the Rangers' #1 catcher coming out of spring training? It was going to be one of these 2 dudes. As it's turned out, it's neither guy now. It's Benji Molina. On the ground left side. Tough play for Scudero. Taylor Teagarden beats it out. He's been squatting down, catching in 100-degree heat, not just all day today, but for 3 hours last night. And he hightailed it down the line to beat out an infield single.
Scudero plays well at shortstop, but he doesn't have quite enough arm strength to make this play the way he tried to make it. Back on his heels from deep at shortstop. It's a good throw, just not quite strong enough to get Taylor.
It's an all-around quality day for Taylor Teagarden.
Well, wouldn't be anything wrong with tacking on another run right here. Blanco can get a base hit, maybe a wild pitch.
Temperature's been toggling back and forth between 102 and 103 out there on that time and temperature clock and left. Most of the crowd has stayed around for this whole thing. The crowd has just been great. $30,000 plus today on a sweltering afternoon. Blanco base hit right field. It is 6-3. Teagarden jams on the brakes, stopping at second. Had a really nice afternoon for that guy, too. Andres Blanco.
Blanco, the last 2 days, has swung the bat well. I think just the last couple of days, he's shown Ron Washington, hey, don't worry about second base. I'll handle it. You know he can play defense. And you have to like the way he's swinging the bat right now, too. So he's kind of bided his time. Christian Guzman got an opportunity now that he's on the disabled list. Looks like second base is in good hands with Andres Blanco right now.
Blanco came into this game with 3 runs batted in all year, and today he's got 2.
Well hit balls for both of them, too.
Here comes Bourbon, and last time he bunted with 2 out for a single and an RBI.
They won't do that this time with men on first and second. But it was a key play for the man on third base.
Down too low.
Runs were tough to come by for 6.5 innings. A little bit different last inning and a half.
Well, that happened yesterday on into the 9th. It was a 1-0 game. And things got a little bit crazy in that 9th. Bourbon punching one under the glove of Martinez into right field. The throw in is going to be too late. It's 7-3.
Well, the bottom of the order has had a great day today. Teagarden with 2 crucial sacrifice bunts, an infield hit to keep this rally alive. Blanco a sac fly, an RBI single, and now Bourbon a walk, a bunt single for an RBI, and now a ground ball to right field for another RBI. So 7, 8, and 9 big days today.
Well, 2 out happenings in the 7th and the 8th. All 6 of these runs late for the Rangers, coming with 2 out. Runners at the corners for Andrews. It's no longer a save situation for Neftali Feliz. Been stuck on 29 for a long time.
Yeah, keep the hits coming and just leave Pedro Strop right in there. In this kind of a game, though, a 4-run game, no save situation, Feliz all warmed up and ready to go. He will be the pitcher in the 9th inning.
Bourbon goes, got a good jump, no throw from Saltalamacchia. And a little reminder from Julio Bourbon today about who he is and what he does.
And again, it's all about taking advantage of your opportunities. Get a chance to play, have a game like this. You won't have a hard time getting back in the lineup. It's all a matter of getting the job done when they call your name.
Two and 1 to Andrews, and if indeed this is a win for C.J. Wilson, he'll be the first lefty to beat the Red Sox 3 times in a single season. First Ranger lefty to do that. Outside to Andrews. This is not going well for Bowden. There is more action in that Boston bullpen now. Now 3 and 2 to Elvis. Michael Young on deck. Down the right field line. McDonald will go grab it. But the Rangers have added 2. They will take a 7-3 lead to the 9th. Insurance Group. For a money-saving car insurance quote, call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE. And by the Ford F-150. Check out the 2010 F-150 and drive one. Ford is the best in Texas. 30,000 plus on this steamy Sunday afternoon, trying to see if the Rangers can take this series against the Boston Red Sox. And Neftali Feliz, though it's not a save situation anymore, is on to try to close this thing down. Adrian Beltre is a tough first assignment. He is 1 for 3 with a double today.
That's a good development over the last, whatever it's been, 3 weeks or a month. Neftali becoming more and more comfortable with his slider and the ability to throw it for a strike, so hitters can't just sit on the fastball.
Slowly, Andrews has to gun it. He got it.
That's the one thing. When he has to gun it, it's there. He's got a lot more in the tank.
Up from Mike Lowell. For now, Saltalamacchia on deck. They don't want to necessarily go to the bench if there's nothing to do in terms of a game-tying opportunity. And it's funny because Saltalamacchia, the one start that he had as a Ranger this year, he did have the game-winning hit the opening day walk-off against Toronto. In for a strike. Feliz, and Blanco's got it. 2 up, 2 down, 9th inning. Check your Ford leaderboard. The Rangers so good at home all year. Trying to get to 39-23 in this ballpark. Trying to get out to an 8.5 game lead in the West again as they're about to hit the road.
And the other nice thing with Feliz is the last 3 times he's pitched today, and his last 2 outings have been 2-inning outings, if I remember right. He's only thrown about 50 pitches. Been very efficient. 2 innings, 17 pitches the other night. Take that back. I think there was one time in between where he pitched. But in most of his appearances, he has been very efficient with his pitch count.
Well, the first win of the year and the most recent win of the year could be with Jared Saltalamacchia at the plate. The most appropriate tone for the season was set when he had the walk-off winner opening day. Trying to make a winner out of C.J. Wilson. Fouled back, it's 3-2.
Ted Barrett didn't even flinch.
No, he was smiling.
He didn't even flinch on that. Knocked his mask off. That's taking one to the chin.
Now the Rangers trying to make it 2 out of 3 against Boston. No. Ball 4. And Billy Hall coming up. Maybe before the mask got punched off, that would have been strike 3.
Well, it would have been strike 3. I think it would have been strike 3 if Taylor's glove was over there. But Taylor's got his glove looking for the ball on the outside corner. And so he has to reach all the way across the plate. And I think that little bit of deception caused the umpire to see it in a different way. You know, he missed his target by a foot, even though he did throw a strike.
Fly ball from Bill Hall. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your ball game. The Rangers have beaten Boston again. The bottom of the order was unbelievable today. Teagarden, Blanco, Bourbon, and of course C.J. Wilson was unbelievable too. 7 2/3 innings to win his 11th. The Rangers beat the Heat, and they beat the Boston Red Sox. They will go out on the road with at least an 8-game lead in the West, and a very successful homestand comes to an end. 220,000 people watching Ranger baseball live over a 5-day period. The Rangers 7, the Boston Red Sox 3, your final. And tomorrow at Tampa, Cliff Lee against David Price. That'll be some way to start the road trip. A 6:10 first pitch tomorrow, North Texas time. Once again, your final, the Rangers 7 and the Boston Red Sox 3. Jim Knox is down on the field, and he's standing by with one of the heroes.
All right, thanks, Josh. Yeah, here he is, Julio Bourbon. What a game for you. A couple of hits, a couple of runs batted in. You're taking the best of this opportunity of getting some playing time.
Yeah, I mean, you said what a game for me. You know, what a game for us. It's such a big game, you know, to be able to clinch and get this serious and going in the road. So it's big for us, you know, carry this momentum on the road.
Talk about C.J. pitching today. Did a nice job on the mound. He had 8 strikeouts and gave up just 4 hits.
Outstanding. Every time he comes out there, you know he's giving you your 100%. He goes out there, competes, and it's fun to watch. Every time I'm out there, even when I'm on the bench, you know, just watching him, you know that guy's out there, and he's ready to give you everything he's got every day he's out there.
And how big was this crowd over this past series? Not only this series, but also against the Yankees. Unbelievable crowd carrying you guys on as well.
It's tremendous. You know, the support we've been able to get from the fans has been outstanding. We're really excited about that, and it fires us up. You know, we go out here and we enjoy being around all these people and supporting us and cheering for us. It's really nice.
All right, Julio, congratulations on the big afternoon. Josh, back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Julio. The Texas Rangers now 67 and 49. They take 2 out of 3 against Boston, and Rangers Live coming up in just a little bit. Thanks so much for being with us.